Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Ito ay nangangailangan ng patnubay at gabay ng magulang para sa mga batang manonood.
Hello Philippines! Hello world! This is Balitang Philosopher! Ang boses ng kabataan tungo sa maunlad na kinabukasan. I am Herbert Jr. Nolien, ang inyong chismisan at ang inyong balitaan. Handa na ba kayo? Serving you the hottest and the most leading news of an Asian philosopher sa ulo ng ating mga nagbabagang balita. And work of Socrates. Nagbabalita, Jezebel Camacho, Maria Nena Jimena, at Mark Justin Villasin.
Good day everyone. I'm Jezebel Camacho from Vicente Filipino 2A. My topic is background of Socrates. Socrates was the Greek philosopher and logician. He was born in 469 BCE. And he died on 399 BC. His father is Socrates. He was an Athenian stoneman and sculptor. And his mother is Penerate. His mother was a midwife. And Socrates' wife is Xantippe. And Xantippe was younger than Socrates. Socrates and Xantippe, they had 3 children. The eldest is Lamprocles. Second is Sophroniscus, and the youngest is Menexenus. Socrates studied at literature, music, and gymnastics, and he participated in the 3 military campaigns during the Peloponnesian War. First is Potidaea, Battle of Sybota. He saved the life of Alcibiades, a popular Athenian general. Second is Battle of Amphipolis, 422 BC. Athens versus Sparta. Third is Battle of Delium, 424 BC, Athenians versus Boeotians.
Good day everyone. My name is Mark Justin Villasin from Vicente Filipino Block A, second year, and our topic is contribution of Socrates. Method of Elenchus, which he largely applied to the examination of moral concepts such as the good and justice. It was first described by Plato in the Socratic Dialogues. Socrates is known to have given the first lesson to a series of disciples who would later go on to develop their own philosophical concept, such as Plato. He is said to have visited and shared his ideas on the street of Athens with those who approached him, who managed to change his audience through his techniques. He was described as a man with an iron temper and reckless appearance. Socrates did not leave any kind of writing or record of his position on the political and philosophical, but these are shown in other works by the hand of one of his students, Plato. Socrates was recognized as the father of philosophy because he began to lay the foundation for philosophical, though questioning, and also the elements to make it more effective, the power of the word. Socrates' contribution to philosophy made it possible to immerse immerse reality in the world in constructive criticism. Socrates. Major contribution to philosophy, critical analysis of life concept. Socrates, though of a philosophy of morality, that is, one that reflects speculations that have hitherto been considered works of nature without cause. Socrates introduced philosophy and reflection to the homes of Greece, forming new perspectives on the notion of daily life, of virtues and vice, of good and evil. To those interests, he introduced philosophical treatment to all possible questions, because for him, no aspect of life was unimportant. The leading philosopher of Greece was Socrates, who lived in Athens. He believed it is important for a person to know himself well in order to see the meaning of life, in order to obtain answers about self and society. It is necessary to examine it through questioning. He persuaded many and became followers because of his own wisdom. He does not accept money as compensation. Some Athenian rulers were alarmed, fearing that Socrates was teaching a dangerous idea, especially to young people, sentenced to death by drinking poison. He continued to talk to his friend Plato, one of his followers, recording the teachings of Socrates because he had no writer teachings. According to my study, I found out that Socrates, the most famous ancient Greek philosopher of all time. Socrates was a master stonemason and social critic. Socrates' greatest contribution to philosophy was the Socratic method in which discussion, argument, and dialogue were used to identify truth.
Good day, everyone. I'm Maria Nina Rhea Jimena from BSED Filipino 2A. I will give you the famous quotes of Socrates, and I will start in number 1. Number 1, he said that unexamined life is not worth living. Through this statement, Socrates means that unexamined life, human life, is deprived of the meaning and purpose of existence. To become or fully humans means to use our highly developed faculty of thought to raise our existence above that of mere beasts. For if we don't think we are no more than animals, or simply eating, sleeping, working, and procreate. For example, neto is seeds. Seeds, they need soil, sunlight, and water. So, as a human life, kinakailangan din natin ng introspection and examination for its growth. Dahil dito, we understand by our own experience gain in our life, and dahil dito nalalaman natin yung connection natin sa ating sarili at sa universe. Nalalaman natin kung ano yung mga kinakailangan natin sa ating sarili, kasi kung hindi natin alam kung bakit tayo sinilang, wala tayong halaga sa mundo. We are not worth living. Yun yung ibig sabihin nun. May kanya-kanya tayong particulation, halaga, kinakailangan sa mundong ginagalawan natin. And yun. So for number 2, to find yourself, think for yourself. It says that you can begin to take a step back with an open mind. With an open mind and all your experience, you become a wiser person. So, sinasabi dito na you should build upon your own experiences. You can learn from yourself or you can learn from others also. Sinasabi dito na kapag nakagawa ka ng isang bagay, you will know if it works or it doesn't work. Kapag nakarinig ka ng mga insights sa ibang tao, makita mo yung mga mistakes nila or yung mga successful nila, you will know if it's work or it doesn't work. Dahil din dito, nakakakuha ka sa kanila ng mga life lesson na they will took to the ripe for a lifetime. Dahil dito, kapag open ka sa mga ganitong bagay, dito mo naumpisang i-build yung sarili mo. Dito mo nabibuild yung characteristic mo. And dito nagsisimulang lumawak yung kaisipan mo. You will see the problems in the whole world, within yourself and in your own society, but in different paths. And take note, with an open mind and all your experiences, you will become a wiser person. So in number 3, true knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. This quote means that even if you know nothing, that's knowing something. You are learning something every second, everywhere you go, and that life is just one big layer. Ito'y magpapakita sa'yo na how really little you are. Kasi bakit? Kasi hindi porket expert ka sa madaming bagay, alam mo na lahat. Dahil nga expert ka sa isang bagay na yon, dun ka mas nag-focus, dun ka mas independent. What about the others, diba? Then, paano pag napunta sa'yo yan? Mapapatanong ka ng, what if? Doon mo di-discover yung kung ano yung emptiness ng isang bagay na yon. Doon mo masasabi sa sarili mo na, hindi pa pala ako expert. Kasi, doon ka mas nagpo-focus sa isa. Doon ka mas independent. Alam mo, kahit may pagbabago yon, alam mo kung ano yon. Kasi, you're independent in that one. But not in the other hand. So, in number 4, falling down is not a failure. Failure comes when you stay where you have fallen. Failure is not the result of falling down or coming up short. Failure occurs when you fall and you simply do not get back up again. We all get knocked down in our life, but the true measure of success is get up when it happens. Kasi hindi naman porket nag-failure ka sa isang bagay, you will easily give up na. No, you should stand up for yourself. It's okay to sit back and relax, but you should stand and don't lying on the floor and saying, I'm giving up. No, kasi yung mga taong walang ginagawa, they easily give up kasi nagkamali lang sila ng isang beses. Sila yung mga tinatawag na failure because they didn't give it a try. They just try just once, but not twice. Sabi nga nila, even if the worst failure will give you a sweetest success. So for the last, number 5, wisdom begins in wonder. It talks about life, about being your authentic self and doing justice to who you are as a person once and all. So siyasabi dito na wisdom begins in wonder because wonder makes our life so much beautiful. And siyasabi nila na being happy is not so much mean everything that to be perfect anyways. Na hindi naman kinakailangan totally perfect yung mga bagay-bagay which is in our surroundings. Then, basta as long na masaya ka sa ginagawa mo, okay na yon, sapat na yon. So, siyasabi din dito na wonder give us to grow and to learn. Kasi dito nagsisimulang pumasok yung mga curiosity which is inaalam natin yung mga bagay-bagay which is indicate to our hopes and dreams na hindi siya totally fixated into our life kasi hindi natin alam kung it will help us or not. As long na masaya ka sa mga ginagawa mo, it will give you wisdom because you're contented and happy to your life.
History, philosophy, and contribution of Plato. Nagbabalita, Lorna Diaz, Ceroliares, John Paul Espinedra, and Buena Joy Barquilla. Pasok!
Have a good day, everyone, and also to our teacher today. I am Lorna D. Arceriales as presenter. Let's talk about Plato, the ancient Greek philosopher. Sino nga ba si Plato? Let's find out his background. Plato was born in 427 BCE in Athens, died in 347 BCE in Athens. He lived primarily in Athens, Greece. Plato's birth occurred near the end of the Golden Age of Athens, and he grew up during the time of Sparta's final defeat of Athens. After traveling, Plato spent the remainder of the academy until his death in 347 BCE. Plato is widely known as the teacher of Aristotle and student of the greatest philosopher, Socrates. He is one of the founders of Western religion and spirituality. Plato was the inventor of the written dialogue and dialectic forms in philosophy. Plato also founded the Academy, an academic program that many consider to be the first Western university, where he stressed the importance of science and mathematics. Because of this, he became known as the maker of mathematicians. And about Plato's main idea, Plato believed that reality is an imperfect reflection of a perfect ideal called the forms. He demonstrates the effect of this dual reality and the need for education in his allegory of the cave, like the dualism of reality. Plato also believed that humans are of a dual nature, body and mind. Again, Plato was born in 427 BCE in Athens, died in 347 BCE in Athens, and student of Socrates from 399 to 470 BCE, and teacher of Aristotle from 322 to 384 BCE, and the founder of Academy.
I am Juana Joy Embarquilla from BSED Mathematics 2nd year, and I am the assigned person who will discuss the contributions of Plato. So I have 10 items of his contributions. As we all know, Plato is an Athenian logician and he is a standout among other Greek philosophers. And most of his works are focused on the Western ideology. He is a student of Socrates and he carried many of Socrates' teaching in his works. So the first one is he established the first university in Europe, which is the Academia or Academy. It was established outside the city limits and offered a wide range of subjects taught by an experts in their field. There is no record of a specific time that Plato established the academy, but the research says that it was around mid-380s BC. The academy was thought to be the principal college in Europe and attracted scholars such as Eudoxus and Theaetetus, which are both mathematicians, and also Aristotle. The second one is the insights in the philosophical teaching of Socrates. So Socrates was influential thinker on his time, and he did not write down any of his work, and he is known through the writings of his contemporaries, such as
Aristippus
and
Antisthenes.
and also through the works of his students such as Xenophon and of course the works of Plato. The exchange or the early writings of Plato appear to be directly acquired through Socrates' teachings. Plato's dialogues are the vital source for understanding Socrates. So the third one is the theory of forms. So the concept of forms are central to the philosophy of Plato. However, some attributes to the philosophy of Socrates. The concept talks of an ideal world of forms which is mimicked in the false world of phenomena. In his work Republic, Plato is said to have demonstrated these forms through the illustration which is called the allegory of the cave. The next one is the epistemology or theory of knowledge. So Plato believed that knowledge can be acquired through the wider forms of universe. He also argued that knowledge is inherently present on the person's soul and is shrouded by their perceptions of reality. So the fifth one is the division of labor. Plato recognized the needs for humans to work together for everyone's benefits and profit. He believed that everyone's had different skills and attributes, and this could be combined to meet the needs of the whole society. He also stated that people could be divided into three main types. The first one is those who were driven to produce things such as farmers, tradesmen, and craftsmen. These people were said to embody the element of spirit, which is the hunger. The second one is those who acted as guardians and concerned with protection and the soul element of the spirit. These people were said to be courageous, trustworthy, and daring, such as military leaders. The third one is those persons who were concerned with the reason element of the spirit, the rulers or scholars who were smart, discerning, self-controlled, and pursued intelligence and equity. And this group was considered as the smallest among the three of them. So we have number 6 in the contribution of Plato, and this is all about the politics. So following on the division of labor and the three main types of people, according to Plato, Plato was able to establish a political and economic model which is work for the benefits of all. People could work together for mutual gain, which would in turn lead to a prosperous and thriving political and economic structures. The next one is his contribution about the Platonic love. So in his work Symposium, Plato attempts to explain adoration and excellence. In these philosophical works, 7 characters gives addresses to the commendation of Eros. So Plato investigate different perspective about these characters. So the character of Socrates talk about how men should begin an attachment with a specific individual, which then leads to love and admiration of their physical and moral excellence. One should also adore individual for their knowledge, and lastly, cherish and welcome their individuality. It is said that in this lies the first seeds of what we know as Platonic love, which is a sort of passionate and otherworldly camaraderie without a sexual element. So we have his contribution to the purposeful anecdotes, and it might appear unusual that Plato, who is a devotee of Socrates and a logical thinker, should employ the storytelling and myth to explain his ideas. However, he made a great use of this device. So Plato recognized that fantasy often depended to a logical thinking, and it could lead to a clear understanding of a subject. He believed that while philosophical discourse was limited to just a few intellectuals, everyone should understand these arguments if they were presented as stories. So he also had a contribution to subject mathematics. So although Plato considered as a philosopher, he was also one of the ancient Greece's most acclaimed scientists. His academy taught arithmetic as part of philosophy as Pythagoras had done. And the first 10 years course of the academy included the study of geometry, astronomy, and music. So Plato described as a producer of mathematicians, and his academy boasted some of conspicuous mathematicians of the ancient world, such as Eudoxus, Theaetetus, and Archytas. So the last one is the Plato's idea about the self. The mind is the sense of self, and it desires an understanding of the forms. Plato's concept of the self, considering soul as an eternal and infinite, which at the same time progresses and changes according to the world's variables conditions. It contains of essential being, which can be properly called as the true self, pertaining to what is intrinsic and natural to it, such as the idea of good, justice, love, beauty, and wisdom, and an ever-changing part which is the commonly called in spirituality and psychology, which is the ego, with its mutable phenomena related to the sense perception and emotions and memory. So, soul is the driving force behind the body and mind. Souls has also three functions, and those are reasons, emotion, and desire.
So, hello everyone, I am JPD Espinitra from Best Ed Mathematics 2. So now, I'm going to discuss about Plato famous quotes. So first is, courage is not knowing what not to fear. So Plato wants us to know that if you have courage to do things are good that if you have courage to do good things, you don't have to be afraid. So second is, good action gives strength to ourselves and inspire good action in others. Plato said that honesty is the most profitable than dishonest. So it means ang pagiging honest daw ay isang importanteng bagay sa isang tao, sapagkat ang pagiging honest is the most powerful thing siguro sa pagiging makatao at sa pagiging tao ng isang tao. So the last quote is, the most important part of education, proper training in the nursery. Said that the most important thing daw part of education is training in the nursery. So lahat naman tayo is nagmula sa pagkabata, and lahat tayo ay tinuruan ng ating mga magulang, and then second, tinuruan tayo ng mga teacher natin upang matuto at mag-guide sa paglaki natin sa pag-aaral sa school. At kaya nasabi ni Plato siguro na important yun kasi doon nagmumula yung pagka maging maayos ng mga bata sa paglaki, kasi natuturuan sila ng proper sa pag-aaral. And then siguro yun yung batayan niya dahil na-discover niya na mas magandang ang yung bata ay natututukan umpisa nung maliit pa siya. Kaya importante yung proper training in the nursery. Yun lang.
Life, word of wisdom, and contribution of Aristotle. Nagbabalita, Leodelmi Castillo, Azel Marie Villariones, and Angelica Liwanag. Pasok!
Aristotle. He was a philosopher and teacher of Alexander the Great. He was born on 384 before Christ in Stagira, Greece. His father's name was Nicomachus. His father Nicomachus' name in Aristotle, which means the best purpose. His father served as a personal physician to King Amyntas of Macedon. His mother's name was Paistic. Paistic came from a wealthy family. They owned a sizable estate near the town of Chalcis of Euboea, the second largest of the Greek islands. Being a physician's son, he was inspired to his father's scientific work but didn't show much interest in medicine. When he turned 17, he shifted to Athens to pursue his education at Plato's academy. He left Athens somewhere in 348 to 347 before Christ, spending almost 20 years in the city. In 343 before Christ, after the death of Hermias Philip II of Macedon, invited him to become the tutor, his son Alexander. Aristotle became the head of Royal Academy of Macedon. Her became a tutor not only to Alexander but gave lessons to two other future kings, Cassander and Ptolemy as well. In his role as tutor to Alexander, he encouraged him to conquer the Cast. In 335 before Christ, he returned to Athens where he established his own school called Lyceum. For the next 12 years, Aristotle organized his school as one center of research on astronomy, zoology, geography, geology, physics, anatomy, and many other fields. Aristotle wrote 170 books, 47 of which still exist more than 2,000 years later. Aristotle was also a philosopher who wrote about ethics, psychology, economics, theology, political science, and rhetoric. Later inventions, such as the telescope and microscope, would prove many of Aristotle's theories to be incorrect, but his ideas form the basis of modern science. Aristotle married 2 times. First time to Pythias, a daughter who was born to the couple. Later, he married to Herpelius of Stagira, then blessed with a son. He breathed his last in 322 before Christ in Euboea due to natural causes at the age of 62.
Good day. I'm Isel Marie Briones, Bised Filipino 2A. My topic is contribution of Aristotle. Aristotle is a towering figure in ancient Greek philosophy who made important contribution to logic, criticism, rhetoric, physics, biology, psychology, mathematics, and metaphysics, ethics, and politics. He was a student of Plato for 20 years, but he famous for rejection Plato's theory of forms. A prolific writer, lecturer, and polymath, Aristotle radically transformed most of the topic he invented. As a father of Western logic, Aristotle was the first to develop a formal system for reasoning. He observed that the deductive validity of any argument can be determined by its structure rather than its content. Aristotelian logic dominated until the rise of modern propositional logic and predicate logic 2,000 years later. Aristotle was the founder of the Lyceum, a school based in Athens, Greece, and he has the first of the Peripatetics, his followers from the Lyceum. Aristotle's works exerted tremendous influence on ancient and medieval thought and continue to inspire philosophers to this day. Aristotle displayed an instinct to use scientific and factual reasoning in his study of nature, a trend his predecessors repeatedly discarded in favor of this philosophical thought. Perhaps it was because of his underlying fascination of nature, logic, and reason that he went to be make some pivotal contribution that are still reflected to modern days mathematics, metaphysics, physics, biology, botany, politics, medicine, and many more. He truly earns that honors of being called the first teacher. Here is a list of top contribution of Aristotle. Number 1. Invented the logic of categorical syllogism. Syllogism is a certain form of reasoning where its conclusion is made based on two premises. These premises always have a common or middle term to associate them, but its binding term in absence in the conclusion. For instance, Socrates is a man. All men are mortal. These two premises can be concluded as Socrates is mortal. Number 2 is classification of living being. Historia Aluminium or History of Animals. Aristotle was the first person in human history to venture into the classification of different animals. He used trends that are common among certain animals to classify them into similar groups. For example, based on the presence of blood, he created two different groups such as animal with blood and animal without blood. Number 3, founder of zoology. Aristotle is also known as the father of zoology. All these classification, procedures, and several other treatises primarily involves different species of the animal kingdom only. He wrote a number of treatises that revolve around different aspects of zoology as well. Number 4, contribution in physics. Aristotle established new frontier in the field of life science. His ventures into physics fall short by comparison. His studies in physics seem to have been highly influenced by pre-established of contemporary and earlier Greek thinker. He embraced Empedocles' view on the makeup of the universe that everything we created from different composition of the four fundamental elements, earth, water, air, and fire. Number 5, influences in the history of psychology. Aristotle was the first to write the book that dealt with the specific of psychology, the alima or on the soul. In this book, he proposed that idea of abstraction that range over the body and mind of a human being. The body and mind exist within the same being and are intertwined in just the way that mind is one of the many basic functions of the body. 6. Advances in meteorology. Aristotle was able to put forth a very detailed analysis of the world around him. The term meteorology specifically encompasses the interdisciplinary scientific study of atmosphere and weather. But Aristotle had a far more generalist approach wherein he also covered the different aspects and phenomena of air, water, and earth within his Theatris Meteorologica. 7. Ethics. Aristotelian ethics within the band in the couple of paragraphs would not do it justice. Having said that, the Nicolaitan ethics stand out as a major highlight of Aristotle's interpretation. It presents the best-known work on ethics by Aristotle, a collection of 10 books based on a notes taken from his various lectures at the Lyceum. Aristotelian ethics outline the different social and behavior virtue of an ideal man. Number 8. Aristotelianism. Aristotelianism is the biggest example of the influence Aristotelian philosophy has had on the entire subsequent philosophical paradigm. Aristotelian represent the philosophical tradition that takes its roots from the various works of Aristotle and philosophy. Number 9. Politics. The word politics is derived from the Greek word polis, which in ancient Greece simply represented any city-state. Aristotle believed that the polis reflected the topmost strata of political association. Number 10. Theotext. Many of the record of Aristotle's views on arts and poetry, much like many others, document his philosophical and literary works were composed around 330 BC. Most of these exist and survive to this day because they duly noted down and preserved by his pupils during the lectures. Aristotle's insight into theotext primarily revolves around dramas. Aristotle was closely affiliated with and influenced by the Macedonian court, a powerful orator and a comprehensive lecturer. He was a very persuasive in his arguments, adducing scientific along with rational ideas, which was hitherto condensed by his predecessors. The horizon of philosophy, nature, metaphysics, and rhetoric winds subsequently, and at the helm is told the unparalleled scholar Aristotle. To delve into his specific works would surely command the book. Here the list of his most notable contribution. Aristotelian physics. Even more Aristotelian physics, physics was essentially the study of nature, which was fundamentally a kind of change. He groups both the nature of changes and the changes in the natural environment, collectively written about in his book, Physics. Next is Aristotle and rhetoric. As the father of rhetoric, Aristotle surmised 5 main elements of rhetoric, which he claims are equally necessary for philosophy as dialects. Along with logos, ethos, and pathos are lethos and keros, which are ingredients for the most persuasive argumentation ever advanced. In his book Rhetoric, he has distinguished which element from reason to the perspective of the author, and finally an emotional appeals which elaborated in his same work. Next, contribution to art and literature. Aristotle composed 6 texts in literature and the art of oratory, but only 2 of them have survived, one being Theotext and the other being Rhetoric. The next one is economic thought. Aristotle was the first person to condense analytical economic and incorporate science and economy. The purpose of the state was to serve the statesman. He said that an ideal state consisted for the rule makers and those obeying them. The next is political philosophy. Aristotle's political thought fall under practical science concerned with good deeds and reformation. The central idea of his politics is that the end or objective of the state is to impact happiness and virtue. Next, contribution of ethics. We all know that Aristotle and his predecessors emphatically produced living a good life. What does a good life consist? Aristotle's ethics answer the above question. He cites that qualities such as fulfillment and a virtue should be instilled in women to live truly well. Next is father in metaphysics. Aristotle's metaphysics, literally after physics, advances a new discipline under the same name in philosophy. Before venturing to press his theories in metaphysics, he begins Book A with the evaluation of established belief and citation of his predecessors. According to him, this is the first philosophy. The next is Aristotle on psychology. As a scientist and a polymath, Aristotle gathered the spotlight amongst other Greek philosophers as the profounder of psychology and its implementation. Conclusion. Aristotle, greatest philosopher. The list of the greatest philosopher is incomplete without Aristotle. He was a Greek philosopher and the founder of the Lyceum and the peripatetic school of philosophy and Aristotelian tradition. Aristotle is called the father of Western philosophy. This Greek philosopher was multi-talented as he wrote on almost every subject such as physics, biology, zoology, metaphysics, logic, ethics, poetry, rhetoric, psychology, linguistics, economic, politics, and government. Aristotle is known for solving many philosophies which were existed prior to him. Owing to understanding philosophy, he was exerted to unique influence on almost every form of knowledge in the West, and it continued to be a subject of contemporary philosophical discussion. Thank you.
Hello everyone, and especially to our teacher, Miss Plato. And by the way, I'm Angelica Eliwanag, second year from BSED Mathematics. I am here to report to you about some of the famous quotes of the philosopher Aristotle. The first one is, happiness depends upon ourselves. That means every person wishes to lead a happy life, but eventually we can get a true happiness if we achieve what we want and what we need, and we fulfill what we want to achieve in our life. Well, that is a true happiness for me. The second one is, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Being patient is very important. For example, you have so many problems in your life, especially like what we are experiencing right now because of the what we call COVID-19, and all you have to do is to resolve it with patience, because being patient can lead to success. The third one is, the law is reason from passion. That means law is unaffected by desire, it followed by upholding the principles of the government and standards set by the society. The fourth one is my favorite quotation of Aristotle, and it is, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. We all know, as a student and as a future educator, that education is very important to our lives because it leads us to be successful, but we need always to remember that being a nice person and have a good heart is the main key to be a better person and a successful person. The last one is, one swallow does not make a summer, neither does one fine day. Similarly, one day or brief time of happiness does not make a person entirely happy. I have a simple explanation for this quotation, and it is, although something good has happened, but the situation may not continue to be good. That's all. Thank you.
Life and Legacy of Saint Augustine, at iba pang mga nagbabagang balita sa pagbabalik ng Balitang Philosopher, ang boses ng kabataan tungo sa maunlad na kinabukasan. Diyos kong anak to, maghugas ka ng play nito!
Nasa si Aris!
Nandoon sa kusina naghuhugas ng play nito!
Aris! Tutol ako dyan!
Ha?
Aris! Tutol kami dyan!
Ha? Ano ba talaga gamitin ko?
Ito!
Ito ang gamitin mo, Philo. Super ang gamitin mo.
Ano ba talaga gamitin ko? I'm so Confucius.
Ito ang gamitin mo. Mamatagalan, purong-puro.
Ito ang mas magandang gamitin. Mabula ito.
Ito ka sa Philo.
Dito sa Soper.
Mars!
Oh, ano ba yan at ako'y naglalaba?
Balita ko may bago pang brand na ginagawa sa panghugas ng Plato.
Yung Philo at Socrates, kailan mo binili?
Oo! Ang bagong brand ng Pilo tsaka Soccer.
Binili!
Nito lang Augustine! 1910! Life and Legacy of Saint Augustine. Nagbabalita, Michael De Salisa, Hazel Joy Romero, and Maria Camel Cañada. Pasok!
My name is Michael B. De Salisa, Beside Filipino second year Block A. Our topic is Saint Augustine background. Saint Augustine of Hippo. Original Latin name Aurelius Augustinus. Born on November 13, 354 BCE. Birthplace, Tagaste, Numidia in North Africa. Now is Soc, Aras, Algeria. He became Bishop of Hippo from 396 to 430. One of the Latin father of the Church. The most significant Christian thinker after Saint Paul. Augustine was an intellectual, gifted child. At the age of 17 years old, his parents sent him to Carthage to study. He quickly discovered the joy of sex. He adapted classical to Christian teaching. He also shaped the practices of biblical exegesis and helped lay the foundation of the Church. In Roman Catholicism, he formerly recognized as the Doctor of the Church. He died on August 28, 430, at the age of 75 years old. Imagine, the bones of Augustine are locked in a glass and usually kept in the large marble. The name of his son is Deodatus, which means a gift from the God. Two notable works. Number one, the City of God. The second is the Confession.
Good day, I'm Maria Camel A. Cañada from Bised Filipino Block A. My topic is all about the contribution of Saint Augustine. So Saint Augustine have many contributions, and one of these is his contribution in philosophy. They are 10 main contributions of Augustine to philosophy, and they are: Number 1, theory of time. In the Confessions, Book 2, Augustine developed a very provocative concept of time. 2. Learning language. Augustine attempted to explain how small children learn and express language. 3. Faith-seeking understanding. In his sermon, Augustine asserted, "Creed ad intelligas" means believe in order that you may understand. 4. Ontological argument. The writings of Augustine also influenced the subsequent formulation by Saint Anselm of the ontological argument for the existence of God. Number 5, reputation of skepticism. The statement of French philosopher René Descartes, 1596 to 1650, cogito ergo sum means I think therefore I am, is derived from dubito ergo sum, I doubt therefore I am, and cephalo sum, if I am deceived I am Augustine. Number 6, proof of the existence of God from eternal truths. Augustine argued that the human mind apprehends universal, objective, unchanging, and necessary truths that are superior to the human mind itself, thus an eternal God exists to explain the eternal truths. Number 7, response to the problem of evil. Augustine argued that while evil is real, it is not a substance or a stop, rather, evil is an absence of godness. Number 8, divine illumination. Augustine developed an epistemology, theory of knowledge, known as divine illumination. Human knowledge is thus directly upon God. Number 9, creation ex nihilo. Augustine vigorously argued that God created the world ex nihilo, or creation out of nothing or from nothing. Certain points of the thought of Augustine 1,500 years ago are very consistent with the modern Big Bang theory within cosmology. Number 10, the examined self. In his Confessions, Augustine was one of the first to write in depth about the self, particularly in relation to God. Augustine also have a contribution to teaching. There are 4 major ways of encountering learning. Learning through transforming experiences, learning as a journey in search of understanding, meaning, truth, learning with others in community, and building the habits in learning. The idea that there are different kinds of learners and the teacher should try to accommodate each type. The idea that students learn at different rates and a good teacher is aware and help each student learn independently. Taught that a teacher should guide the students in finding truth instead of just telling him/her. Saint Augustine have also major contributions. Wrote Confessions, an autobiography of his life and conversion, considered to be one of the best Latin classical texts. One of the most prolific Latin authors with more than 100 separate titles. This includes the Doctrina Christiana, commentaries of books of Genesis, the Psalm and Paul letters to the Romans, the Retractationes, a review of his earlier works which he wrote near in the end of his life, the Sebetate the City of God, and the Libero Arbitrio on the free choice of the will, addressing why God gives human free will that can be used for evil. Believe knowledge is a journey, advocated value of community and learning. That's all. Thank you.
So, hello and good day everyone. I am Isel Romero, a second year BSED Mathematics. So now I am here to show you some famous quote of Saint Augustine. So the first quote is, "Our heart is restless until it rests in you." So this quote is one of the famous and important quote of Saint Augustine, as this is the most compelling evidence of the existence of God in his life. Dito niya natagpuan yung fulfillness of happiness in his heart and the satisfaction in his life. So in life, we became restless when we are seeking for happiness. So yung mga bagay na naiisip natin gawin na makakapagpasaya sa atin, ito yung mga bagay na ginagawa natin. So like Saint Augustine, he became restless when he are looking for the happiness in his life. So, although na-attain niya yung mga bagay na gusto niya, na sa tingin niya ay dito siya magiging masaya, like the popularity, the wealth, the status, in spite of all, hindi siya naging masaya when he recognized God in his life and then embraced God in his life. Dito niya na-discover yung totoong kasiyahan at satisfaction na hinahanap. So, this quote is the result of the struggles between his body and the soul when he looks for happiness and satisfaction in his life. So St. Augustine's heart is restless in his journey toward the Lord, but through the personal reflection of St. Augustine with the Lord, it shows us how to find rest with Him, to our Lord. The next one is, the world is a book and those who do not travel read only one page. So this is an inspirational quote which attributed to the life journey of St. Augustine. So we all know that one book has a lot of pages. If we never go, if we never try, and if we never explore the world, then we will have a very limited view in the world. So diba sa isang travel is maraming pwedeng mangyari, maraming pwedeng magbago, at marami kang pwedeng matutunan na pwedeng makapagpabago ng buhay mo. So, like in our life, if we don't try, if we don't explore, then we cannot discover the things na hindi natin ina-expect na kaya pala natin gawin. If we don't make changes, then wala tayong challenges, wala tayong additional experience na maiidagdag sa book of life natin. So in our life, we need to have a constant changes so we can have a lot of pages in our book. The next one is, take care of your body as if you were going to live forever, and take care of your soul as if you were going to die tomorrow. So since God gave us this life, so we must take good care of it. We need to take good care of our body since our body will not going to live forever. So as long as we are living in this world, so we must stay healthy, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And also, we must do good things and enjoy our life while we are living, because once lang tayo mabubuhay. So that when times na bawiin na likat yung buhay na binigay sa atin, is wala tayong maging regrets sa huli. And of course, since our soul is immortal and the spirit na makakasama ni God, so we need to take good care of it too. So kailangan natin pakainin ng good deeds ng ating soul para hindi naman ito mag-suffer once na bawiin na yung buhay na ibinigay sa atin ito. So kailangan natin gumawa ng mga mabubuting bagay, hindi lang para sa ikagaganda ng ating katauhan, kundi sa ikagaganda din ng ating kalooban. So the next one is, there is no saint without a past, no sinner without a future. So ito ay reflection din sa life ni St. Augustine, na kung hindi dahil sa past niya, ay hindi siya magiging saint ngayon. So kung hindi siya naging makasalanan, hindi niya maiisipan na lumapit kay God. Dito nagre-reflect yung lahat tayo is may chance na magbago. Kung naging makasalanan ka man ngayon, pwede ka pa rin magbago para sa ikabubuti mo. So the last one is, patience is the companion of wisdom. Of course, if you have wisdom, you have patience on everything. Patience para mag-explore, mag-observe, and especially to think kung tama ba ito o mali. Yung bago mo gawin ng isang bagay, bago mo gawin at sabihin yung isang bagay. So those are some famous quotes of St. Augustine of Hippo. Thank you.
Life and work of Confucius. Nagbabalita, Giselle Paez and Robert Romel Nera Paso.
Good afternoon, classmate, and good afternoon, ma'am. Our topic of my group is all about Confucius or Confucius. Confucius is a Chinese philosopher born on 551 BCE in Khufu, China. Dead on 479 BCE in China. Confucius was born near the end of an era. Now is China history as the spring in Atom period, 770 to 481 BCE. His home was in Lo, a regional state of eastern China, what is now center in southwestern province. Philosophy of Confucianism have influenced China culture right up the present day. Confucius has become a larger-than-life figure, and it's difficult to separate the reality from the myth. He is considered the first teacher, and his teaching are usually expressed in short phrases which are open to various interpretation. Confucius' work, it was whilst he was teaching in his school that Confucius started to write, to collect of poetry when the book of Odes or Shijing or Shiking, in the book of document or Sojing or Soking. The spring in atom anal is Lengjing or Lengking, which told the history of law, and the book of changes Yijing or Yiking was a collect of a treatise on divination.
Confucius' political life. Thoth Confucius served the Duchy of Lu, a Chinese state. He made many enemies with the noble of the land. His views antagonized the powerful nobles who wanted the duchy to be a puppet in their hands. Confucius was exiled from the states of law for more than 2 decades, so he lived countrysides spreading his teaching. And let's talk about Confucius' ideologies and philosophy. Confucius gave great importance to education. He devoted his time to gain new insight and learned from renowned scholar of his time. He started his own school at the age of 22. At that time, China was undergoing a state of ideological turmoil. All around there was injustice, war, and evil. And Confucius quotes, "Everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it." So, I think this quote is trying to say that beauty is not limited to physical appearance. It's not necessary that looks good outside. It's also good from inside. Sabi nga nila, don't judge the book by its cover. Second is, it does not matter how slowly you go, so long as you do not stop. So, for me, that is even though we have the slow progress of life. We should keep moving forward so that we can succeed in our goals. Keep moving forward, even if there have the several obstacles in our way. Third is, when anger rises, think of the consequences. So, may mga tao na kapag nagagalit, may mga nagagawa o mas naiisip sila ng mga masasamang gawin, pero hindi nila naiisip yung mga consequences na maaaring mangyari.
3 quotes of Confucius. First, study past if you would define the future. Kung nakapag-aral ang isang tao, sinasabi na ang pag-aaral daw ay ang magtuturo sa kanyang kinabukasan. Para sa akin, ang kinabukasan ay dapat pagpaguran at pagtiyagaan upang gumanda ang kinabukasan ng isang tao. Then second, respect yourself and others respect you. Paano ka tatatuhin ng tama ng ibang tao kung di mo kayang tratuhin ng sarili mo ng tama? So, umpisahan ng isang taong respetuhin ang sarili bago siya respetuhin ng iba. Third, silence is a true friend who never betray. Ang tunay na kaibigan, marunong magtago ng lihim. Yun ang pagkakaintindi ko.
This is the 10 major contribution of Chinese philosopher Confucius. First, he revived the great moral teaching of the sage of the past. Second, he laid the foundation and developed the influential philosophy Confucius. Third, he is traditionally credited with having authored or edited the 5 classics. Fourth, his 5 virtues are among China's most valued traditional virtues. Fifth is his teaching inspired Neo-Confucianism, which impacted China for almost 6 centuries. Sixth is Confucius positively influenced the education system of his country. Seventh is his political philosophy was a guiding light to many future rulers. And eighth is Confucius successfully propagate the concept of meritocracy. 9 is his emphasis on the social harmony for the base of Chinese society. And the last 10 is his philosophies among the 3 great Chinese teachings.
The first contribution is revive the great moral teachings of the sages of the past. Confucius took inspiration from the sages of the past and expanded teaching that would inspire generation to come. Second, he laid the foundation and developed the influential philosophy Confucius. It's become hugely influential and had a great impact on China history. Third, he is traditional created with he being author or edited the 5 classics. The first classics is Classic of History or Book of the Documents. It is 58 chapters. Second, Classic of Poetry at collect 305 poems divided into 106 folk songs, 105 festal songs, and 40 hymns. Third, Classic of Rites describe ancient rite, social form, and court ceremony. Classic of Change, it also known as the Act or the Book of Change. Last, Spring in Atom Annals. These are historical.
At dyan nagtatapos ang ating balita para sa An Ancient Philosopher. So once again, this is Herbert Jr. Nolien, ang inyong chismisan at ang inyong balitaan. Handa na ba kayo? Goodbye! Salamat sa panonood!